Hello.
Hey everybody! Welcome to our trip review. And a lot of you said back in December that you liked having Sam on. So he is with us today.
And
So
until our craft room gets moved around, we'll be probably split TV.
yeah, we had talked about doing this, moving the craft room and the living room and doing some rearranging when we got back from vacation, but it was just we were just too tired when we got back. And we were both kind of sick and stuff. So and we had talked about doing it this weekend, and then Sam was sick. He's had like some bad sinus pressure and stuff. So I'm not doing it then. We might do it next weekend. I don't know. Saturday, we're helping with basketball tournament in town.
And this is going to be a 2 full day project, dear.
Yeah. So so that's what's going on that way. So, want to say welcome into everyone who is watching live and who is watching via chat. Um, Thank you huge to Dean with the Live Place, theliveplace.com. If you're looking for other family-friendly streams, make sure and check out liveplace.com. Also, if you're thinking about doing live streams, make sure to check out theliveplace.com if you are trying to figure out the best time to go live. Everyone is live streams mostly are posted there. So if you hear some talking in the background, I am watching Myers and the Mouse their stream as they are doing their Super Bowl or their Road to the Super Bowl watch party. So I guess we'll start out with trip recap. That would be hello, Stevie Lee, welcome in. Phantasmic Chronicles has been in. Thanks everybody. So this actually starts Christmas Day.
Yeah?
Um, it was just a different type of Christmas this year. In our house. And I'm staring at Sam as he says nothing.
Okay. It was a different Christmas. I mean, I think everyone pretty well already knew that, though.
So, about what, 2 o'clock? We played cards and stuff in the morning. Had lunch. And then about 2 o'clock, we drove over here and left our truck in the driveway. You pulled it all the way up to the garage. We checked
Yeah.
the beaches. And then mom and dad got here. And we headed to Wichita. And people joke that there's nothing open on Christmas. It's no joke, dude.
There's very few that were open. The Chinese restaurant was open. Denny's was open.
IHOP was open.
IHOP was open. No, IHOP
IHOP,
was closed. IHOP next to the airport was closed.
that's right. And Quick Trip was open.
Yes.
Because mom and dad are like, oh, we'll buy you some dinner before we leave. And we got down there and there was nothing open. So I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll figure out something,
Good dinner at the airport hotel.
Yeah, we just ended up eating at the airport hotel and it was really good. Um, that video is already up, so you'll saw the pictures of the pizza and stuff. It was good. What do you think, dear?
I'd say the pizza wasn't bad. The drinks were decently priced, so I mean, I can't complain.
I think we spent like $30 overall between 2 adult drinks and the pizza.
Yeah, it was a
Uh,
personal size, almost a little bit bigger than a personal size, but not quite as small.
yeah, it was a little bit bigger than a Blaze pizza, I want to say. Maybe like an inch bigger than Blaze. Uh,
Hmm,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, somewhere in there. Um, And then we just kind of hung out in the room. We had a really hard time going to sleep. And it wasn't like that, oh my gosh, we were so excited. We were really trying to go to sleep and we just couldn't.
The room just was not comfortable. I don't know whether the bed just was hard as a rock. I mean, that was part of it, I know, but
Hmm.
other than that,
We just had a hard time going to bed that night. I think we didn't really even sleep. I think we just dozed.
I think so.
And then the alarm went off about 2:00, and that was for me so that I could get up because Sam showered the night before. Sam showered Christmas night, and I got up and showered um the morning. And then you went downstairs and got a luggage cart.
Mm-hmm.
And we headed down and we got um into the transportation to go to the airport. And that's where everything went downhill that day.
Well, no, it technically did not go downhill until we got in line for waiting for Delta's uh window to open.
That's true.
That's when it went downhill because that's when you got the text message from Delta that our plane had been delayed.
Right. And we were really confused because the big TV, computer screen, whatever you
So
want to call
we'll go time.
it said it's still up until they opened the Delta desk. It was showing um
On time.
on time. And then all of a sudden it changed. And no one could really give us good information of what happened until probably 7:00, I want to say.
You
Roughly.
finally got a hold of a different lady that actually knew more of what was going on with the plane. It was a mechanical issue with the left side aileron.
For those of you who don't know airline speak, here's the wing of the plane, and here's the little flappy thing that comes down to maneuver to change the way the air flows. It wouldn't come down. It was stuck in the upright position, and that's not good. Apparently it had come in Christmas Day and had issues. And so they worked on it all day Christmas Day, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So they flew in a mechanic on the last flight into Wichita out of Atlanta. So they sent a Delta mechanic, and the mechanic figured it out, I guess, right away. But the first flight out of Atlanta and I'm sorry, Wichita being the airport capital of the or air capital of the world, they need to make sure they have pieces to fix their planes. Just saying. But
The problem the problem is ICT may be in the air capital of the world, but it isn't because of how many flights come in and out of
it's because
Wichita.
that's where the big Boeing and big Spirit
I can
manufacturer.
say Boeing's there, Spirit's there, Bombardier's there,
Yeah,
you know, Cessna, Raytheon, if they're even still in existence.
they are.
Plus you have McConnell.
Hmm.
So it isn't necessarily the regional flights that come in and out of Wichita.
So anyway, they flew in the part, and the way, like Sam says, Wichita may be the airport capital of the world or air capital of the world, but it's a very, very small airport, even after they rebuilt a brand new one. But I will say the new one is less confusing than the old one. So here's gate 2, where our plane is just sitting there, like we've been staring at it all morning. Here's gate number 1. So the plane pulls into gate 1. Literally, a guy, you're watching him chuck luggage out, and this guy runs over and they hand him this part. And he literally runs, and the box was maybe the size of like a medium-sized Christmas gift. He literally runs 10 feet and like almost you see him chuck it at the guy. He's probably thinking, if this plane doesn't get fixed, I'm going to be mobbed by the angry people inside the airport. I felt really bad we always go onto the assumption that something is going to go wrong on our, that first day. But it's never happened. And so I think we were so ready to be there. It just made it 10 times worse that nobody really knew what was going on. And they kept saying, oh, you'll want to stay at the airport. You never know when it's going to be fixed. Knowing all the while that the part wasn't there. And that's what aggravated me a little bit. It's like everyone needs to have the same information because there's going to be someone different all the time at the gates trying to get information. And I got off and I got really ticked for a little bit. But I mean, I understood it, but it still didn't make me very happy. The flight that left, maybe 20 minutes before ours?
20 to 30 minutes prior to us,
Was
yes.
overbooked. And they're like, if anyone is willing to change to the flight out of gate 2 that's leaving in 30 minutes, we'll give you an $800 gift card. And Delta only offered me $200 as a compensation for being delayed 9 hours. And I messaged Delta and they're like, well, that's up to the discretion of the airport. And I'm like, they gave me 2,500 bonus miles and couldn't offer. And I mean, granted, they did go buy sandwiches and they did go buy
drinks
and lunch and stuff for everybody. But still, I mean, there's a big difference between $800 and $200. Anyway, so I think about 5 that they were boarding people on gate. They were just finished closing the gates, like the boarding door of gate 1, and they were running over to gate 2 and making an announcement. We will be starting boarding in 2 minutes, and everyone's like, you could hear people cheering because we had almost all been plastered at this window watching them work on this plane, and they're probably going, these people are not, the more you stare at me, it's not going to help. But if we don't stare at you, you might go away. You might leave us. So we finally got on the plane, and I think everyone just cheered. We were all cheering when they finally started boarding. It was horrific. And then we got into Atlanta, and then our plane out of Atlanta was delayed.
But not near as long.
No, it got that plane.
I think maybe 20 minutes, and overall, with everything that happened in Orlando, it was a little half hour, maybe more total.
So the plane was delayed leaving Orlando, and so it got in like 5 minutes late. But then there were 4 or 5 people who needed assistance getting off the plane. But then there were 5 minors who were flying in care of stewards or stewardesses, and they literally had to get them one by. They didn't just bring them all off the plane. They literally had to go on and get them and show ID and tons of stuff. Which I was like, that's really good to know that if you send your child in care of steward or stewardess, at least on Delta, like not just some random steward or stewardess can go pick them up. They have to show ID and they have to scan it and they look it up in the computer. So that was really interesting to know. And to see happen. And they're like, give us about 10 minutes. We need to clean the plane. And a lady goes, as long as I can kick the dang trash out of my way, I don't care. Let me on the dang plane. And I'm thinking, amen. And then there was we had to end up circling the airport because something happened with a flight coming in. I don't even remember what plane it was.
It was Lufthansa.
And we pulled up maybe 2 or 3 gates down from them?
Somewhere close to it, yeah, because we saw the ambulance and everything that was...
like 2 ambulances and a couple fire trucks and stuff. And I overheard somebody later say that there had been a medical emergency on the plane. So, excuse me, my guess is that we were due to come in like right behind them. And they're like, you need to circle and give us a few minutes. Because there's we
actually went south of Orlando before circling back in.
Yeah. I was like going, oh my God, did we just get hijacked? I was...
And you wouldn't listen to me where I told you something was going on the ground.
Yeah, it was...
I've been through it before.
I panicked a little bit. But then we got off the plane, and I'm thinking, great, now we're going to get to wait 5 hours for a bus. And that was...
We went right on the bus.
We did. We scanned our band, and they're like, go to lane 9 for Pop Century. Okay, look, we walked through. They scanned our band. So they go, your bus is outside. It's, what, number 4 or something?
Yeah, something. And I don't remember that. But
we're like, it's a Disney cruise bus, so that was kind of fun. And we walked up to the guy, and he's like, okay, you're the last 2 on my bus. I think there may or may not be seats together. But we ended up finding seats together.
Yeah.
Mid-bus.
Somewhere mid-bus.
And we got in pretty quick, and I had been texting off and on and calling back and forth with Angela and Jeff of Does Our Dream because we were supposed to have met them like at 1. The sad part about when we left Wichita, we were taking off in Wichita at the time we were supposed to have been landed in Orlando. And so I think at that time thing just really got to me. The bus ride was actually, we were the second stop. It was AOA, Art of Animation, Pop Century, and Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah.
And
which I thought was a little odd, but
well, the last time we had a bus that was divided up, it was that same way. Art of Animation, Pop Century, and Animal Kingdom Lodge. So that was kind of interesting. So, oh, it looks like the Chiefs may have won. Go Chiefs. So we met up with them in the lobby, and we still had to go up to the front desk, even though we had our room number. We had our room number before we left Wichita. But another little salt in the wound. We were going to decline housekeeping or mousekeeping, and so you have to do that when you get there. So we got in line and did that real quick, and then they're like, yeah, we'll just wait here so you could, because we had to drop off our carry-ons and stuff, and I wanted to change into shorts because I had been in jeans, and it was muggy when we got there. It was like one of the only warm days. Right?
Yeah, it was warm-ish. I at least shedded my coat, and I still kept on pants, changed shoes, I think, if I remember right. But
I think you did change. I think you changed out of your wingtips into loafers.
Yeah.
Emily's Paper Creeper, welcome in. I think it's because it was like 7 o'clock at night that we walked straight on the bus. Sam and I kind of talked about it. If we had gotten there at 12:30 like we were supposed to, we probably would have been waiting on a bus for a while. And so then we jumped on a Disney Springs bus and we chatted with Jeff and Angela from Does Our Dream. And we had, the first thing we did was I was going to upgrade to an annual pass. And I think if I had known it was just going to take so long, I would have waited. But they were really awesome. Sam sat in the ticket center and waited. And so I could go out and chat. And then when I go to do it, because I wanted to have
over another building.
They sent me to a different building because I had already purchased a Memory Maker, and to have them use that as credit towards my annual pass purchase, it has to be done at guest relations. It can't just be done at one of the ticket centers that you find at Disney Springs or in the parks. It has to be done at guest services. So that's something for, if you are planning to upgrade to an annual pass and you have already purchased Memory Maker, you will have to do it at a regular guest services desk. You can't do it at the resort. You can't do it at a ticket center. It has to be done at guest services, and because it has to be like a override from one of the uppers has to help with that. So that was finally done, and so then we went to Chicken Guy for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of Chicken Guy?
It was okay. It wasn't. It wasn't as awesome as I figured it would be in a Guy Fieri type of, or restaurant. So
now, do you think part of it is because we were 100% exhausted? Do you think if you were to go back and try it again, you might have a different opinion?
No, because it seemed like they ran over the chicken with a steamroller.
They are, they're probably maybe a quarter of an inch thick. They aren't super thick. They're very thin. They remind me of like the chicken strips you get in school.
Yeah.
Like,
if I want chicken strips from school, I'll go to the school cafeteria.
We each had the 5-piece chicken strips. We shared a drink, and I also had the fried pickles. And I really liked the fried pickles. And that was really one of the only times we were in Disney Springs. So I've already told Angela.
Our first night and our last night.
Hmm?
Our first night and our last night we spent in Disney Springs.
That's true. We weren't there very long on our last night, though.
No.
Emily's Paper Keeper. Yes, they are remodeling. They are expanding the length of the restaurant. So I thought it was good. And I think, like I said, we were really tired at that point. We didn't get back to our room until I want to say 11:30. And you have to remember, we didn't sleep well the night before. We'd been awake since 2. We dealt with flight delays. The plan had been for us to get to our room and actually be able to take a nap before we went to dinner, which was the original plan. There was no nap involved. We were both just dead by the time we got back to our room. Oh, was Peaches up with you?
She was.
Peaches says, Stevie says, "Hi, Peaches, they saw you." If she knew that, she would be right up in his face. Day 2, which was our first official day, was Epcot, and it was the first of our tours.
I honestly like that tour a lot better than we did our other one.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
This was my choice anyway.
Yep, this was Sam's choice. I'll let you talk about it.
It was Destinations Discovered, which is the walking tour for the 11th
World Showcase.
And we had a really good tour guide. We got to go backstage. You got to go through the event kitchen and stuff, and got a gingerbread cookie out of that. That was fresh. They
were warm. They were kind of melting the little baggies a little bit.
So it was really cool to see the kitchens they use for, like Festival of the Holidays and food and wine.
They said that when we were there on the tour, it was still Festival of the Holidays, and they said that they already had the menu confirmed for Festival of the Arts.
And Flower and Garden.
And Flower and Garden. So they were actually going to be starting to work after the first of the year on food and wine, which because
it takes about 10 months for some of that stuff to.
Yeah. So our tour guide's name was Julie, and one of the awesome things about her, she actually helped create the tour. So if you decide to do the tour, see if Julie is working. You will love her. After that, after the tour was finished, we had lunch at the China Pavilion.
Yes. I had the Szechuan beef, chicken. I think. Chicken or beef, one of the two. Chicken. And you had orange chicken.
Yep. And I wasn't super hungry, so I asked Sam if he wanted to share, and he's like, no. Yes, Emily's Paper Caper, the tours are an additional cost. They range from $700, 70 up to in the several $100s per tour.
Well, technically, there's one for $25.
Yeah, the living with the behind the scenes.
Yes.
And then we did Test Track. We had a fast pass for Test Track.
Okay.
What do you think of Test Track?
Well, that's one of our rides we always do when we go to Epcot. So, it's one of the definitely must-dos for Epcot.
We always design our own cars.
And we tied.
Yeah, that was a different day. I had tried to not live stream, but vlog that, and my finger was over the lens the whole time. I didn't have my Joby that day. I tried to pack as little as possible, and my bag was super heavy. And then we had VIP seating for the fireworks that night that came with the tour.
Yeah, but we skipped that.
Yes, we skipped that because they were like, at that point, it was like starting to kind of rain and it was coming down pretty good. And they're like, oh, there's a 90% chance that they're going to get canceled. And we're like, okay, well, we don't want to stay around for something that's going to be canceled. So we talked about it, and Sam only had a base ticket, a 1 day per park. And we ended up upgrading you to a park hopper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming
Sorry,
people.
I have peaches in here.
And we went back to after we upgraded you, we went to the room for a while, and we took a nap
Yeah.
because
Laid down for a little bit. Did take a nap.
yes, it was wonderful. Naps are wonderful, especially at Disney. And then we went to Magic Kingdom for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
That was day 1.
One. Because I had clam chowder for dinner at Columbia Harbor House.
That's right, because it was so cold, so cold.
At least for Florida, it was cold. Because I mean, most of the mornings were in the 40s.
Um, yes, Emily's paper caper. I did keep track of my steps each day. However, mid-trip, my phone literally tried to crater, and I had to factory reset it, and I just haven't put the Fitbit app back on, and so it didn't sync the last few days, but I did keep track of them. So once I sync it, it should go back and tell me. But I was averaging between 25 to 29,000 steps a day. So that was Friday. On Saturday, we had plans to meet up with Does Our Dream again and to do Rise of the Resistance. So we got up and on the bus, and I mean, we got off the bus and literally we were almost shoved down. People were running to get to the entrance of the park.
Yes.
I think they kind of forgot about security because like people would like run into each other, and we're going, it is just a ride, people. um so we got through security, and I'm texting with Angela, hey, we're at the park, where are you? And she's like, oh, we're on the bus. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, all of a sudden people in front of us start cheering, and they're letting people into the park early, like 45 minutes early, because it's like probably 5:15 at that point. And so I texted her, hey, they're letting people into the park. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, they're not supposed to drop boarding passes until 7. Well, I will tell you that from the corner where you would turn to go up to Tower of Terror, all the way to the turnstiles was 100% jam-packed of people. And all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden, there was an announcement stating that due to people, they would be dropping boarding passes at 6. And so I'm frantically texting back to Angela, they're opening boarding passes at 6. Where are you? And she's like, we're still stuck on a bus. And I'm like, okay, so like I'm frantically trying to get a boarding pass at 6, and I think we got boarding group 72
72 or 74.
or something like that. And they got in at 6:20 and were boarding group
And
80.
something in the 80s.
We were boarding group 74 and they were boarding group 82. So we once we got up with them, we went and did Toy Story Mania, which Jeff lost badly. And Sam got beat by everybody.
I was winning hand and foot until
Like the very
the
last.
last one, and then I don't know what happened. Almost like it reset my score.
I think it did for some reason. It was weird. And so then we had picked up, while we were waiting on them, a fast pass for Alien Swirling Saucer, but they didn't have one, so they waited on us because we had never ridden it. It was like the longest 2 minutes of my life. I do have a ride POV of that ride coming up at some point. It's scheduled. I just don't know for what day.
It's
Hey, does our dream Jeff or Angela, whoever is today? Let's see, if Jeff is still on with Kelly, it may be Angela. And so we were wet. And so we went with Jeff and Angela over to the beach club, to the DVC lounge. Since they're DVC members, they could get into the lounge. And we were able to dry out for a while. Oh, before that, we went and got Ronto wraps. We were
Yes.
trying to ride Smuggler's Run, but the line was really long and we were hungry. And so we all got Ronto wraps, and there was nowhere to sit. And people were getting mad if you asked to even borrow a stool from the table for 10 seconds to eat real quick. So we just ate really fast. I had the
We
breakfast.
did finally have a seated area.
Huh?
We did finally get seated.
We did. We finally found an area. We just ate really quick so that we could give it to someone else. I had the breakfast Ronto wrap. Oh, hey, Ange. And you had the regular Ronto wrap. And I actually liked his better than the breakfast one. The one, I don't know if they were trying to get them out so fast, but the pita didn't seem really cooked. And the egg was kind of weird. So I ended up just pulling the sausage piece out and eating it. But his with the slaw and stuff actually was pretty good. I liked it. I don't know if I'd necessarily eat it again, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I don't think I'd necessarily run specifically there to have the same food, but it wasn't horrible.
It was an experience. And no, we did not try either of the blue or green milk. I had heard that they were both gross, and I didn't want to waste the money for something that potentially I would not drink. So we went over to this DVC area with Jeff and Angela for probably about 3 hours. We were just trying to avoid the rain for a while. Jeff and Sam played pool. Abby went over on the whole other side of the room away from us. Like she didn't want to be associated with us. We were able to dry out, which was nice. Then we wandered over to Epcot. Jeff got us lost on the way leaving Beach Club to get to Epcot.
We didn't get lost. We took the scenic route.
Mm-hmm. And then we just kind of wandered around World Showcase. We ate at Leal. We had never eaten there before, and so
It was good.
it was really good. We had heard about it, but we had just never gone there. And so we were very thankful to Jeff and Angela for taking us to Leal, because we probably would not have gone without them. And so we ate there several times over the course of the trip. I had the bacon and cheese roll. You had the lobster bisque.
I had lobster bisque, the whole baguette that I was going to share with you, that I just ate, and I had a glass of the Cabernet, which
yeah, the Cabernet, and I had a Coke. And it was really funny because I really truly felt like an aunt and uncle, because Zach and Abby were arguing over who got the last bite of something. So I literally cut what I was eating, I cut it in half and stuck it onto Abby's plate. And I'm like, here, you can eat this if you're hungry. And Zach's like, I'm still hungry too. So I took my half and cut it in half and stuck it on his plate. And so I literally felt like Aunt Lena feeding the kids.
well, that's a good thing.
Angela says scenic route is a good way to look at it. And then we met up with Jeff and Angela went live while we were in Leal, and they kind of took turns holding the gimbal. And then we had to go track down Jeff because he had wandered all the way down Morocco or something. Yes, we were very thankful to you for sharing. Well, we kind of let them go hungry, and poor Jeff was like, Abby may not get to eat today because she had beat him so badly on Midway Mania. And we stopped at different countries and got some snacks, and I got the caramel and beer dip with pretzels. And I was kind of disappointed in it because it was cold and so were the pretzel bites. Like you would expect this dipping sauce to be warm, but like literally you could like you stuck your finger in it and you could like wave this thing of caramel around like without it even like flinging off of your finger. So I ended up sitting on a bench. That was when we met up with Monarch Moments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey Amy. AJC Magic TV's in the house. So they kind of Sam and Jeff and Garrett from Monarch Moments were, and I was back with them, and Angela and the kids and I forget the other half of Monarch Moments' name was at the head, and I finally just said, I'm going to be back here. I'm going to sit down so I can eat this thing because it was very difficult to eat like walking around because like literally you had to scoop out the dip with a spoon and put it on your pretzel piece. So once I just took my time and ate that, and then I was just kind of watching on the stream, and when I said, hey, I'm trying to find them, everyone was really nice. I was saying, hey, they're in such and such place, and I don't even remember where you were. I think you like were in Norway or something.
We were in Norway.
Yeah, you guys are in Norway, so I thought. So I finally caught up with them, and they were getting about that point. I got a notification that, or wait, no, I said they're at like boarding group 68 or 69 or something, and so Monarch Moments had a test track. Fast pass, so we kind of separated ways, and we left Epcot, and we had a little race, and we did video about this, so that'll be coming up too. Timing the Skyliner versus the boat, and the time was from the time you sat down to the time you walked off. How long did it take you to go via Skyliner or via boat? With the boat having all the stops. And there was only like a 4-minute difference between the two. Now, granted, sometimes you have to wait longer on a boat, or sometimes the Skyliner may have, where it has to stop more frequently. But really, there is a 4-minute difference from the time you sit down to the time you get off, which was nice to know. It was kind of a fun little race. And since we had time to kill, we were still waiting on our boarding group to get called. Once our boarding group was called, we were going to go over and see if there's any way to bump them up. Plus, we still needed to get Abby added to This Our Dreams' boarding pass because they were saying that she wasn't in the park. It was kind of a strange incident. But we're in the middle of the Frozen. We decided to go see Frozen, the sing-along. And Angela and I were singing at the top of our lungs, and Abby's kind of looking at us like, please do not let anyone I know see me. It was really funny.
I took a nap.
And Sam took a nap. And in the middle of the show, our boarding group got called. So once we got out of Frozen, I was crying. Because one of the songs, it was about when we're together, and I started to bawl, and so my eyeliner and mascara was running to my eyes, and it was burning, and I had nothing to wipe. I had no Kleenex or anything, so I'm like trying to use the inside of my shirt very like up at the rim to like try to at least be able to see. I was a mess. So we stopped and made a bathroom break and went into Galaxy's Edge. And we had only been in Galaxy's Edge that morning when the rain. And we talked to them, and they got Abby added. And they're like, there's no way to bump them up. But if your boarding group is already past the 2 hours when there's this called, we'll still honor it and let you go with, which is time that we were waiting for our friends who had a later boarding group. Yeah, like Abby loves when we sing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she might disagree with that. Phantasm Collins says he's seen this a lot on this channel today. Yep, I have this. I was on Mama's stream this morning, and then the Skywalker / Beauty and the Beast chat, and this chat. It's been a busy day. And I don't even remember what we did in between the time, that 2 hour time frame. We did. We had popcorn.
Because you had the multicolored popcorn.
Yeah, we had popcorn and Coke. And we were just finishing our snack when Abby goes, "Our boarding group just got called," and we were like 10 minutes before our two. So it was roughly probably an hour and 45 minutes after our boarding group had been called. Boarding group, and theirs was. So we went and rode Rise of the Resistance, and I freaked out because there's a drop. It was really cool to see. Yes, we were there for 2 weeks. It was a very long trip. But it was fun. We once we finished Rise of the Resistance, we all we separated and each went back to our rooms. They went back to their resort, we went back to ours, and we kind of rested and relaxed and said, okay, we're gonna meet up at such and such time back at Magic Kingdom. So we did that. We got there a little sooner because I wanted to grab an umbrella, and we had dinner at Columbia Harbor House, where we met up again with Monarch Moments. And so then we decided to go ride Pirates of the Caribbean, and there was like 10 of us, and we asked for if there was, it was a walk-on. There was nobody in line behind us. And we said, is there any, or there was like very few people behind us. I said, we went up and said, there's 10 of us. Is there any way that we can get a boat to ourselves? And they were real snotty about it. And they wouldn't let us have a boat to ourselves. And they're like, and you're only getting these couple of rows. And they were like, you can fit four adults on a row. Yeah, four adults that maybe don't eat. But I about ended up having to be left behind or on a different boat because there was just no room. We were able to maneuver it around, but we were all pretty tight fit, and we were not very happy that they did that. We're like, what's the point? There was like hardly anyone there. It was a walk-on. So once we got off of that, I said, well, Mine Train is not Mine Train. Big Thunder is a 20-minute wait. So we get over there, and it was actually a 10-minute wait. And by the time we got, yeah, it was very strange how Pirates went down. It was weird. We got to Big Thunder, and it was literally a walk-on. We literally walked, huh?
We were walking through the whole queue, and then we got just pretty well right on. So.
And we told them there's 10 of us. They're like, oh, great, we're just going to put you on this train over here. And they sent us in another direction. They had to come over here. And
I'm like, what in the world?
it was weird. But then when we were on the ride, I actually checked off something that had been on my bucket list that nobody else knew about. I wanted to see the fireworks, happily ever after, from the train. And we got to experience it that night with Diz Our Dream and Monarch Moments. And it was just awesome. And I cried. And it was just so cool to see. But then we had to say goodbye. They were going off to do Haunted Mansion. We had to say goodbye because we had Keys to the Kingdom tour the following day. So we got back to our room and went to bed. So we get up the next morning, and it's still raining, people. It is still raining. I have never experienced so much rain on a Disney trip that didn't stop. Like, normally it's
rain an hour or so, and then you're done for the day.
Emily, no, we didn't talk to customer service or about the boating. It was one of those things where it was really, really weird, and I could not even explain to you just how weird that was. But we did talk to customer service about other things. Yeah, I agree. We probably should have, but by the time we got off, it had bumped up to a half an hour wait or more. I think it might have been up to a 45-minute wait.
Well, it was out of the rain.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thank you, John, so much. Appreciated that. So our tour, we had to be there by 8:15. But those extra magic hours that morning, so we got there probably about 7, and we went to Starbucks and got a breakfast sandwich and coffee. And we just went back. The tour starts at Tony's Town Square Plaza, the Main Street Theater where you meet Mickey and Tink. We just sat in a couple of chairs. I actually slept. I don't know if I snored or not, but I actually took a nap waiting.
Could have taken a nap through the tour.
The tour was so disappointing. And this was my pick for the tour. I picked it because from what I had read online, you got to go backstage on the Haunted Mansion. Your tour guide would talk to you through the whole ride because you have an earpiece. So the tour guide would talk to you through the whole Haunted Mansion ride about, backstage things or things like they point out stuff about the ride, and it didn't happen. And like a lot of the time, instead of walking around doing things, even with our umbrellas, like the tour guide would like set in one place, and we only went like 2 or 3 places, and then they really rushed us backstage, and I thought, well, maybe the tour's changed.
We didn't go to Tomorrowland at all.
Yeah, we didn't go to Tomorrowland at all. We were supposed to, and I guess so what was it? 2 days ago? It would have been
A couple days
Friday.
ago, yeah.
It was Thursday.
I was there Thursday.
It was Thursday. I was talking to someone online, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and they went on the tour 2 days after us. Like, yeah, we went backstage at Haunted Mansion, and we went backstage behind Peter Pan's flight, and we went back. I'm like going, "What tour was I on?" Because we sure didn't do that. So, and I had actually contemplated talking to customer service while we were there about the tour, and the unfortunate thing we thought was that this tour guide is a legacy cast member, which means that he has one of the blue name tags.
And I'm
And
like, what good would it do? They're just gonna say, well, oh, he's
great. But after hearing other reports, I'm like, I can't not say anything, even though it's like a little while later. So I called and talked to the lady, and the lady was absolutely appalled. Um, I couldn't even tell you the tour guide's name. I think he said it once. And I could tell you, Julie did our Destinations Discover tour, and she's awesome. And I could pick her out of probably 5 cast members. Because I did. We would wave to her in Epcot. I couldn't tell you what our tour guide's name in Magic Kingdom was, and I couldn't pick him out of the cast member lineup. And the lady's like, that's really sad because after spending, most of your day with him, you should know his name. You should know, you should be able to know him if you were in the park. And so I sat on hold for a little bit, and she'd come back and she'd confirm something and go back. And she's like, okay, guest relations, which is who does the tours out of Magic Kingdom, has your information, and I have a code, and I get to go pick up a $200 gift card refund when the next time I'm at Disney. They were really appalled to hear that we did not do the backstage at the rides, and they said that they had gotten a lot of unhappy feedback
complaints about that.
that particular tour guide. Yeah, we paid $100 per person for that tour. So I was very, very unhappy. But I feel better about it that they did refund our money for it. We talked about it, and we might do the tour again in the future, or we might not. We might do a different tour instead, because there's always a chance that we're going to get that same tour guide. We ended the tour, and we caught the Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance It street party.
Which is always fun.
Right. So I'm going to get a drink, and you can take it over.
Okay. I'm trying to remember that day, but sure.
I'm actually getting ready to go find my photos so I could see what we did. 2 weeks of a trip, and it kind of becomes a blur after a while.
And so it blends together. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of
I'm almost there, actually. Oh, here we are. We went. Oh yeah, we did Peter Pan's flight.
Oh yeah, we had the fast pass for Peter Pan's flight, and is
We
that
had
the
never,
same day as This Is Small World?
yeah. We were headed. We had lunch at Columbia Harbor House again. No, we didn't.
Mm-hmm. No, because we had lunch at Pecos
Yeah, Pecos
on the
lunch at
tour.
Pecos came with our. No, Emily, the Mouska dance party is really fun. We did not dance. We actually caught the end of it, because we were actually run. There was not a whole lot of bathroom breaks on the tour, and so we both had to go to the bathroom really bad. So by the time we went to the bathroom and caught up to it, it was actually ending. But that's okay. We caught it a couple of different times. But we were headed over to Peter Pan's flight, and Peter and Wendy were actually meeting together in Peter Pan's spot. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of cool to see them, and then we went on Peter Pan's flight. Um, we had a snack at Pinocchio Village Haas. We split a flatbread pizza, and when we were there a couple years ago, the pizza was a lot better.
Yeah, this time it was not near as
It was
good.
like
It wasn't up to
flatbread was
snuff.
like soggy. Like they didn't pre-cook the flatbread enough before they turned it into the pizza.
Yeah.
Um, so after Peter Pan's flight, we decided to do PhilharMagic, and we got in and got sat down, and it started, but like the curtain didn't raise, and they're like, okay, we're experiencing technical difficulties. You can either choose to leave or you can stay. And everyone's like going, we're gonna stay. We have a seat, we're good. Um, about 10 minutes later, they made another announcement. It's still down. Maintenance was trying to fix it. People could still leave if they so choose. And one family had just like almost
Shut up.
got up and outside of the aisle, and they go, "We will be starting the show in 5 minutes." And we're like, "Oh yay!" So we're like, "Thank you for starting to leave because now it's fixed." So we saw PhilharMagic, and then we had dinner at Crystal Palace. We'd never done dinner at Crystal Palace before. We'd only done breakfast.
I think I'm still more of a breakfast person at Crystal Palace than I am a dinner person.
I agree. So we had dinner at Crystal Palace, and then we headed back to the resort. And Pop Century had a massive, massive line, but there was like nobody in line for Art of Animation as we walked up, and that's the bus that pulled up. So we just jogged over to the Art of Animation bus. If you don't know, Art of Animation is actually supposed to be the other side of the decades for Pop Century. It's actually supposed to be 1900 through 1940. But after 9/11 happened, they stopped progress on the resort because the downsize of attendance. And then so when they started working on it, they made it into Art of Animation. Well, the buses run to both resorts, but you can flip flop buses. You can literally get on an Art of Animation bus and walk across the
Our
bridge
bus like
to Pop Century. And we got to the bridge and we just cracked up. Literally, where our room was is right at the edge of Pop Century, right at the edge of the bridge. We had no idea because we had left in the dark and we had come in the dark. So we had never really been there to see like out our window, what at the scenery. And so literally we looked across the bridge and there's our room. So we used the Pop AOA bus hack quite a bit um, during the rest of the trip. I'm glad we realized that early on instead of like the last day.
I will give you a bus hack not to do.
Yes, please. This is funny.
Well, I always flip Caribbean and Coronado. I think you can kind of see where this is going with the Skyliner. Well, I was in Disney Springs because I was gonna go grab Blaze or something because you had a day to the park by yourself,
Yeah,
and
that was.
I was like, well, I'll go back to the resort and I'll be, I jumped in the line for Coronado. Well, I get to Coronado and I realize, well, this is not got the Skyliner at it, so I had to take a bus from the Grand Destino, because I jumped off at that point and jumped back on a bus to go to Magic Kingdom to be able to catch a bus to go to Pop. Needless to say, considering we were trying to race, she won.
The funnier part is I was on the bus. Was that a Pop bus or Art of Animation? I was on a Pop bus. And I'm like, did you just tell me you were on a Minnie Mouse bus going to Coronado Springs? And he goes, yeah. Well, I go, the bus that pulled right beside you getting onto the road is me. And that's when he goes, well, let's race back to the room. Well, he's like, my phone's just about dead, but I'll be there shortly. And this is like later on in the trip from where we're at now. But so I'm in there. I actually stop and get a massage on a massage chair, which is like amazing, and it revitalizes you, and it's a must do for us, for anybody. And I get up to and I grab a Dole Whip, because Pop Century has Dole Whips in the food court. They do not call them Dole Whips; they're called pineapple slushies or pineapple floats. I had one of those, and I'm sitting on the bed, and I'm chilled out. I'm going, okay, well, he should be here any time. He's still not there. Still not there. Finally, he gets there, and he tells me this story, and I about died laughing. And at this point, he was so hungry because he was actually going to get us dinner and I had went to Epcot. That was New Year's Day.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's a couple of days, past where we are, but it's fine.
Well, just a bus hack thing that.
I had went to ride Soren after we played mini golf, and he went to Disney Springs, and it was so busy, and they did the line at Blaze really bad and stuff, and so he's like, I'm just gonna come back, and so we ended up ordering room service, and it was a little pricier than we wanted to spend, but it was an experience for us. We had never done it before, and they told us
it was not there.
Right. They told us, oh, it's going to be an hour. I go, to get room service at Pop Century? And they're like, oh, no. All the food is cooked at Pop Century, but we just have to say that because we service Pop Century, Art of Animation, and Caribbean Beach. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. They told us that Pop Century is actually the third largest resort.
No, 35th largest resort in the world.
Yeah, that's what it was. So it's one of the bigger resorts on Disney property. But we got these Buffalo Fire chicken tenders that are only available through room service, which I think is very sad because I'd be ordering them at the food court if I could. But we ordered that and kettle chips, and we had drinks in the room, and it came in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, 15,
you were in the shower by then. So that is the first few days of our trip. Well, we're almost coming up on an hour. So next Sunday, we will be starting out with December 30th, which we'll talk about fireworks and things like Beaches and Cream and gingerbread. So we hope that you come back next Sunday, same time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Anything you want to say, dear?
Nope.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. If you are new to the channel, we greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get all of our notifications. Vacation videos are being posted on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 6 a.m. Central Time. So Thursdays are travel tip Thursdays. Fridays are fitness Fridays. I am not really back into the swing of that quite yet. I'm still trying to decide if I'm doing that as a vlog or a live stream. I just haven't really decided quite yet. And then Sundays are Chat and Craft with Myers and the Mouse on their channel. And some Sundays is a random chat with Kenzie Days, Tracy Glenn, and Is Our Dream on one of our channels. And then 5 p.m. Central is Scrap Room Sunday on my channel. Thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you later. Bye, everybody.